Because that's all you would be able to have. But imagine a world full of drunks and alcoholics, and you know there would be no Republican Party. That's for sure. Imagine a world where everybody's a Democrat. Who would argue? What would they argue about? Everybody would just be drunk. Imagine a world where the president is drunk all the time and he gets high, because there's nothing to cling on. There's no salvation. And as much as people try to downplay it, the church plays an important role in the world today. Because if it wasn't for the church to regulate some of the stuff that they do, the world would be in absolute chaos. Because there has to be a balance. In everything that you do, there has to be a balance.
Yes.
There would be nothing to fill that void in our hearts except the deviant things that are out in the world. And a lot of us take our salvation for granted, not remembering that Jesus died for us so we can be made whole again. And like I said, a lot of us take that for granted. You know, we come to church, and we just come to church to come to church. It comes in one ear and out the other. You know, it's one service after the other. And, you know, or I get up today, I might say a little prayer, I might not. I might go to church tonight, I might not. You know, I got to go do something more important, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go to church tonight. And we take our salvation, and not that coming to church is our salvation, but when you hold the things of God less important, that just goes to show you how important your salvation is. You know, if you can't make it to church 2-3 times a week, which to me, if God is supposed to be your number one priority, if God is your number one priority, like a lot of us Christians say, we would want to be here. We would want to be fed. We would want to find the things of Christ. We would want to hear a preaching or hear a song or something, you know, something. But because God in reality is not our number one priority, that's why we don't hold that with that importance. And you know, a lot of us, the number one priority is the husband or the wife. Really, truly, then the kids or school, and then work. And then before you know it, really, truly, God's importance in our life is like 6, 7, or maybe even 8. After all those things. And you know, it's just crazy to me. And the pastor was talking about on Sunday about people with the worldly music and how it distracts them. And I was talking to Miriam, and we were having a discussion about it. And I said, because to me, it's not really that important to me, the music. But I'm a different type of person. But, you know, she said something that was true. But a lot of people take that and they make it their lifestyle. And I said, you know what, you're right. And I said, because they hear a booty popping song, now they got to go and booty pop. You know, because they hear a song where it says the girl should have tight clothes on, they go ahead and now they got to wear tight clothes. Or, you know, the song says, oh, he got a gun. Now I got to get a gun too. You know, the guy gets a tattoo on his face. Now I got to get a tattoo on my face too. And it's true. But when I explained to her, and I said something to Christina about it too, and I said, but it doesn't always have to be something like that. It could be with anything. It could be with anything. I explained to her, because I said, to me, music is just entertainment, like a movie. But I can understand where people they become, and I said, but even with that could be something that becomes obsessive. And I said, I could be a person that I enjoy watching movies. I like watching movies. But then I had a friend who used to pull out a stack of movie tickets like this. And he had to hold them in 2 hands because he would keep them. And I said, well, that's not just a like or a love. That's an obsession. Now it's beyond him just liking that movie. It's an obsession. And a lot of us, what happens is we take the little things and we make it an obsession. And it takes the place of God in our lives. And then our salvation just goes down and down and down and down and down and down. And it's just sad to me because I truly feel, you know, all these things that are going on, you hear all these preachings about the coming of Jesus. And, you know, you can say to yourself, well, they've been preaching that for years. But the signs are there. You know, birds falling out of the sky dead, fish coming up out of the sea dead for no reason, earthquakes every day in different places of the world, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes on a regular basis. It's not even shocking to us no more. And those are just signs of the times that Jesus is coming back. The world is crying out. The world, the land, the earth is crying out to God saying, come back and save them. Save these people. The earth is crying out. And we're just ignoring it. And the people are just going blinded, just walking blind. The scientists can't explain it. And you say, but it's biblical, it's here. I can explain it. It says it right here. And they look at you like you're crazy. You can have a factual book from hundreds of thousands of years ago and say, look, it says it, predicting from thousands of years ago that this was going to happen. They don't want to hear it. But Nostradamus says in 2012 it's going to end. They believe that. Because I saw a movie with it. It's real. I saw a movie. That's what it is. 2012 is coming. That's what's going on. But they don't want to hear a book that's been written hundreds of thousands of years ago stating that God is in the plan. They don't want to hear that because that's too difficult for them to wrap around their brain. But you know what? A lot of Christians are like that too. They don't want to hear it. They say, yeah, that's true. I believe it. Jesus coming soon. Jesus coming soon. What you doing tonight, girl? What you doing tonight? You want to get a free drink? I don't care. Let's go. Let's go. We got a little tipsy. Don't tell nobody. Just as long as you don't let the pastor know, we good. Or the guys. Oh yeah, Jesus coming soon. Jesus coming soon. Hey girl, what you doing tonight? My wife ain't gotta know. It's true. It's true. And a lot of the people in the church are like that today, and they don't see what's going on, and their salvation is just slipping away. Look at the church. This is Semana Santa, and look at the state of the church. And this is a lot of people for a Thursday. I was actually surprised that this many people showed up. So, it just goes to show you where we're at. And you know, I give this thing about the ultimate universe, and it sounds kind of funny and weird because everybody's like, Macho's crazy, he's retarded. But really, if you think about it, it kind of like boggles your mind. Like imagine if Jesus did that. Imagine if he didn't come for us. Imagine if we didn't have salvation. Where would we be at? And the last word is in John chapter 19, verse 26 and 27. And it says, when Jesus saw his mother there, and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to her, Woman, here is your son. And to the disciple, here is your mother. From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. Alright, and this is the last one I'm going to give you. And because I know a lot of people don't know a lot about comic books, and I'm probably the only one who really knows about comic books here, I'll switch it up a little bit. How many people like wrestling? Okay, well the guys, okay. Well, I think the guys get it. But you guys might relate to this one a little bit. How many people know Hulk Hogan? All right, everybody knows Hulk Hogan. Okay. Remember, he was like super flashy, red and yellow, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, 24-inch pythons. Kids, you got to listen to your parents. That's the Hulk Hogan I grew up with. I thought he was a superhero until he lost to the Ultimate Warrior. That just shook my world. It did, I promise. I was like, I went to my bed. I didn't want to talk to people for like 2 whole days when Hulk Hogan lost because I didn't think he could lose to the Ultimate Warrior. It didn't make sense to me. But anyway, the point is, everybody remembers how Hulk Hogan was, right? And that he was this ultimate good guy. You couldn't touch him. Remember when they would punch him and he would just shake it off? Right? He would just shake it off. You would say, oh man, Hulk Hogan, he's getting ready. You're going down, bad guy. Undertaker, you're going down. I just knew that was the ultimate moment right there. Well, back in 1996, Bash at the Beach, WCW, Hollywood Hulk Hogan was born. You say, what's Hollywood Hulk Hogan? Well, back in 96, he had made a transition from the WWF to the different company, WCW. And they had some guys there. And Macho Man Randy Savage was fighting. And he was getting beat up by these 2 guys. So he runs down to the ring. So what are you thinking? He's coming to help Macho Man, right? That's his friend. They go back from years from Miss Elizabeth. And they're best friends. He's going to help him. So he gets in the ring. The guys run out the ring. He looks at Macho Man on the floor. And everybody says, oh, great, he's going to help Macho Man up. First thing he does is he look at Macho Man. And he does the leg drop on Macho Man. So everybody's in shock. What's going on? That's his friend. He's supposed to help him. And he gets up, and the 2 bad guys get in the ring, and he starts hugging the bad guy. Hollywood Hulk Hogan was born. From then on, he didn't wear red and yellow. He wore black and white. He grew out his beard, and he would spray paint people, and he would beat people up, and he would jump on them and different things. He would do all kinds of bad things. It was a different Hulk Hogan. It was like an alternate version of Hulk Hogan. And I hated him. I hated him. From that point on, I couldn't see him the same because he was a bad guy now. And it was totally different. And this particular verse talks about responsibility. Jesus being responsible to give his mother away. But imagine an alternate version of Jesus who just didn't care. Who just didn't care. Who just said, you know what, my responsibility to these people is to come down and sacrifice myself on the cross of Calvary. But imagine an alternate version of Jesus where he said, you know what, responsibility, who cares? I don't care. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. Who cares? Imagine that. Imagine if nobody had died on the cross that day. Where would we be? We'd be lost. We'd be lost. We'd be looking for salvation somewhere. We would be trying to find somebody to take our sins. We would be completely lost if nobody had died for us that day. But how come so many of us have ignored our responsibility to Christ? How come so many of us have ignored our responsibility to the mission? How come so many of us have ignored our responsibility to the church? How come so many of us have ignored our responsibilities to our families as Christian men? How many of us have ignored our responsibilities as Christian women? How many of us have ignored our responsibility to ourselves? And it's just sad because we say, you know what, no, Jesus would never not come and die on the cross of Calvary for us. But we can never not do whatever he wants. God wants to do something. Well, if I get to it, I get to it. If he tells you, I need you to go and preach the word today. Oh, no, not me. No, not me. I'm too scared. Sorry. Pick somebody else. Our responsibility to Christ seems to be in that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th spot as opposed to number 1. And God understands some of us have to work, and unfortunately, it is what it is. I have to work every other Sunday, and I hate it. But you know what I do when I'm at work? Every Sunday, the jail is right by a church. And every Sunday, when those bells go off, I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care what they call for. I stop whatever I'm doing, and I pray, at least for a minute, on that Sunday, on my Sabbath, to give honor to God. And the last Sunday I was working with one other person, and we were in the office and we were talking about, I don't remember what, but the bells rang, and I noticed that the bells rang, and I said, excuse me for a second, I'm just going to pray for a second. And he said, all right. And he went about his business, and I prayed, and he let me pray, and then when I was done praying, I said, all right, and we just went about the day like we normally do. Because I don't like ignoring the responsibility of my Sabbath, even if I'm at work. You gotta take measures where you have to. But that's because if you hold your responsibility where it should, you're gonna do what you gotta do. But a lot of us don't. And a lot of us ignore our responsibility as a Christian and have allowed that old man to resurface back in our lives. We just ignore the words of God. The word of God comes in and we know it's for us, but we shade it. And we say, no, maybe it's for somebody else. And we send it back. It's for the guy behind me. It's for the lady behind me. That's not for me. And we've let that old man resurface back up. And we've gone back to our old ways. We have allowed that calling that God has given us to be buried. Like that slave that buried that talent. We have buried that talent. And I really can't understand that. When God places something in your heart, you grow a love for it. I love preaching. I love teaching. There's not a lot of things that I get excited for, but I was excited to get up here today. That's because that's a talent that God gave me. And I'm not going to bury it for no one. This is one of the few things that I enjoy doing, and I do good. David and Becky and Mommy, I called Mommy yesterday, and I said, what's the words again? And she said, you're starting preaching now? You do it now? Why you do it now? Well, you had it since Sunday. You could have came up here on Sunday, and I had the words in the book, and I could have gave it to you on Sunday. And I said, I know, Mom. I have the outline already. I just need the verses. It's okay. Now you got that on Sunday. And then David and Becky were looking at me like I was crazy. Like, you going to start it tomorrow? And I said, yeah, I got plenty of time to do it. And then Miriam was trying to explain to them, no, you don't understand. He takes like 10 seconds, and he can come up with a whole preaching in 10 seconds. She was actually surprised that I wrote it down today. Because normally I don't even write it down, but I wanted to make sure I had my stuff in order. But anyway, But a lot of us have buried that talent that we have. Or if